Hey everybody, Nicholas Snow here with PromoHomo.TV on a rarely deserted patio at the Tool Shed Leather Bar here in Palm Springs, California. And I am with the president and vice president, respectively, of the Palm Springs Leather Order of the Desert. We have David and Mike, and we are here to preview Palm Springs Leather Pride taking place October 30th through November 2nd right here in Southern California, aka Palm Springs. And the theme is Gods of Leather. PromoHomo.TV is proud to partner with the Palm Springs Post, offering locally owned neighborhood news. For a complete rundown of Palm Springs news and events delivered each day to your inbox, make sure to subscribe to the Palm Springs Post's daily briefing email at thepalmspringspost.com. And be sure to check out their sister publication, the Indio Post. You can subscribe at theindiopost.com.
Take me out to California. Take me out to California.
So welcome, guys.
Thank you.
How did this theme come about, David?
Well, we're always looking every year to do something new. So last year our theme was Deeper Than Ever, and it was really about connection. It was about, everybody wanted to go one place with Deeper Than Ever, but in fact, the idea was creating connection. And we're always trying to think of something new. And this year we were thinking about the gods of Olympus. We were thinking about, the pantheon. And so we landed on Gods of Leather. So it was like kind of something completely different and kind of striking. And so we've gone with that.
Well, also in Greek, not just mythology, but reality, men on men love was, very common and embraced and really part of the culture. What would you like to add, Mike?
I think it's a wonderful new idea and a way of looking at leather. There are pantheons in the leather community. There are different segments of the leather community, and we look to each other for support and recognition and respect. And so I think this is a wonderful opportunity to bring the tribe together, the many gods of leather, in one place at one time to celebrate who we are.
Well, one of the things that I really love is this is a quote from you, David, in the advance information. This year, we invite you to celebrate like the gods of old, celebrate what feels good, what turns us on, what gets us off. Is it privilege? We're not right next to a lumber yard. I think that actually they should have beer bust in the lumber yard. I think that ties together themes. So anyway, just to start again, this year we invite you to celebrate like the gods of old, celebrate what feels good, what turns us on, what gets us off is a privilege and our right. Our kinks, our swirls, and everything in between, the ultimate distraction from turbulent global woes. But this is the line I really love. On behalf of all my PSLOD hims, hers, and thems, we want you to have the very best time ever. I love what you said about connection, because a lot of people who don't understand or who are not a part of the leather community really don't understand that it's about a tribe, it's about connection, it's about freedom, and about authenticity.
Yes, and it's about inclusion, right? So we are a very inclusive community, both at Palm Springs Leather Order of the Desert and also at Palm Springs Leather Pride. For those who may not be aware, this is arguably the 4th or 5th biggest leather festival in the world. We get thousands of people who come, and our message is our arms are open to everyone. And I did think of the gods partying though, because it's about coming and expressing yourself and having a great time and meeting new people as well as seeing old friends.
What would you like to add to that?
Well, and
And
just
hold
finding
the
your
mic up.
finding your
Mike
tribe
meets
as
the
well.
mic.
Mike meets Mike. It's about finding your tribe as well. And so your comment about kinks and swirls, oftentimes coming to an event like this allows us to find out what turns us on, what interests us. We may not have even heard of a kink or a swirl until we're faced with it, and then we realize, oh my gosh, there are all these people out there who feel the same way I do. How empowering that is. But it's also building inclusiveness, because you're not alone. You are a member of this community, this broader community, and you are welcome.
One of the things I love is it's common now for non-binary people to be entered in the Mr. Palm Springs Leather Pride, uh, which is it's a far cry from where even the leather community was decades ago.
Well, we continue to evolve. Our community continues to evolve, and that particular event continues to evolve. And once again, we're trying to have our arms open so that everyone feels welcome to come and, as Mike just said, kind of express yourself or be exposed to something that you may not know is about yourself, right? And we want to make sure that everyone feels welcome. And so I think that's an expression of that.
One of the things I was thinking in prepping for our interview is that I believe that if we weren't in such a repressive society around sexuality, that things that are classified as kinks wouldn't be considered kinks. They would be considered more of a norm, and that most people just haven't given themselves A, permission to really explore their sexuality, but B, are probably practicing a lot of things in private that they don't share publicly because of associated shame.
I agree. And you just used one of my favorite words, which is shame. Shame is a learned behavior, and we learn to be shamed or shameful of some of our desires, some of our activities, some of our behaviors. And so once again, what we're trying to do here as both our festival, but as a community, is to eliminate shame. And I think we all walk around with it. I think those of us who are a little older might walk around with more, but it's a key word, particularly in our community. And you're absolutely right. This is the place to come and see if we can shed some of that.
Speaking of which, it's nonstop activities from October 30th through November 2nd. PSLOD.org is where you can find the complete roundup. I'm recording this in early September to broadcast in early October, leading up to the event, and packages are already on sale. You can get a pass for the whole weekend, but you can get individual tickets as well. And there are several of the events that are non-ticketed, like everything that happens here, for example, at the Tool Shed, is non-ticketed. So one of your big events, people do show up early. They go to that welcome event that will be this year at Hunter's on October 30th. That's a non-ticketed event, but it's not like people get here at the last minute. They get here, they adjust to the time zone, they're ready to have fun. What would you like to say, Mike?
Oh, no, absolutely. I was just hearkening back. My partner and I used to come down for 12, 15 years before we moved to Palm Springs. And that opening evening, wherever it happened to be this year, as you suggested, Hunter's, was always the kickoff. It was seeing old friends. It was getting into the groove of the weekend. It was very exciting. It's not untoward to walk into a room and get hugged by 10, 15 people who you knew from the year prior. So it really is this really beautiful, inclusive family. And so it's not just an opening event. It's kind of like the kickoff event. And it just sets the tone for the whole weekend. It's great.
Well, that's always fun, and even if you're not participating in Leather Pride as a whole, it's fun to pop into some of these events. It's really a good time. And one of the things that I love about this, well, first of all, this is a philanthropic endeavor. You always end up with funds that you contribute to nonprofits in the community. But you've gotten some great sponsors on board this year that have helped, make the event more affordable. But I do know that you're having a great speaker series that is tied into one of your sponsors. What would you like to say about that?
Well, this is something that we launched last year, and it continues to grow. So we're going to have 4 speakers this year, on Friday and on Saturday. And what we're doing is touching on both medical and kind of cultural issues. They're really interesting topics. I invite people to go to the website and take a look. They were very well attended last year, and it's one of the ways that we're always looking to add new things to Leather Pride, right? And we've been very successful over the last couple of years in doing so. So we added 2 presentations last year. They were incredibly well received. So of course, we're now going to expand it. And they're open to everyone. They're extremely interesting, and they're going to be delivered by people who are experts in their field. So I invite people to take a look.
And Eisenhower is one of the supporters of the event.
Absolutely. Eisenhower helps to curate both the topics and provide some of the speakers, in particular, the ones that are medically slanted. So we do want to talk about kind of the intersection between leather and kink and some of the things that folks participate in, and staying safe and some of the medical aspects of that. And so that's kind of very much one of our focuses, but it's not the only one. So I'll leave a little bit of a mystery. Come and take a look.
Mysteries. So before we went live, we're not live, but before we went to recording, I was mentioning the real significance of the connection between the leather community within the LGBTQ plus civil rights movement. They're the way they've broken down so many barriers, and I was excited to learn that the LGBTQ Archives of the Desert is collaborating with you guys to curate a very special exhibit. Would you like to share a bit about that and hold your mic
Sure.
up?
David Gray, who is one of the co-founders of the History and Archives in the Desert, came to us and asked us to participate, both as sponsors, but also he asked me to help curate. This is a wonderful opportunity to showcase leather, just as you described, because this is the 30th anniversary of Leather Pride in Palm Springs, and so it's a hallmark for us. And your comments are really well taken, because in doing my research, we looked at various aspects of the leather community and personalities, organizations, bars, institutions. And one thing that kept coming out was our contribution to the community as a whole. So not just inward facing in the leather community, but outward facing in the gay lesbian community and beyond. And so this is going to be 13 panels, and it's going to include artifacts, photographs, a lot of wonderful information. I think it's very exciting. But 2 of the panels that you describe are specifically on the leather community's contribution to civil rights, specifically in the Coachella Valley and in Palm Springs. So, it's going to be upstairs in Hotel Zozo, another one of the added features that David referred to. Again, trying to add new and interesting things. Whereas before, the upper level of Zozo would have been a great cocktail space. Now there's going to be a very unique, interactive history archive display.
And just by panel, we're not talking a panel discussion. We're talking about a portable display that has a narrative story. So you walk through and you look at all of these displays, and it tells the story.
I agree with you, and I disagree with you. There's also going to be a panel of women in leather on Wednesday at the Hotel Zozo, and you can go to our site to find out information about that too.
Okay,
so both kinds of panels.
Both kinds of panels. But
if I could jump in and just mention something, because
you're the president, you get to do whatever you want, and you're wearing leather. I don't know what. I don't know if you're wearing hankies or what pocket they're in, but
this
speak
is all
up
for you, my friend, because I'm a cool customer and it's 100 degrees. I think that this display and this narrative is exemplary of what we try to do at Leather Pride. So if you look at the portfolio of events, when you hear the words leather pride, I think people think about one thing, but actually we have quite a diverse portfolio of events, and they fall into cultural and history, education, health and wellness, community, building community, and then of course sex and play.
I'm Nicholas Snow, and I'd like to thank Willie Ryan and John Pascal, owners of 849 Restaurant and Lounge, for their support of PromoHomo.TV from the beginning. I was honored to work at the restaurant the first 4 years they were open, during which time I was inspired to write this. At 849 Restaurant and Lounge, sitting in the lounge area at a high top with a view of the grand corridor, the main dining area, is truly like starring in one play while simultaneously watching another, both with fabulous scenery and lighting, a gorgeous cast, fascinating characters, and exciting plot twists, complete with movie stars and paparazzi, not to mention fabulous eats. I call it reality dinner theater. See and be seen while starring in your own scene. Perhaps we'll have a scene together. Make your reservations at 849.com.
Hi, it's Brad Furr, a proud media sponsor of PromoHomo.TV, and I'm the owner of K-Gay Palm Springs and Gay Desert Guide. We just wanted to say thank you and thanks to Nicholas Snow for what he does. K-Gay Radio is a worldwide streaming service of great dance hits that you can listen to anywhere, anytime. And when you're planning your visit to Greater Palm Springs, use gaydesertguide.lgbt.
Ask your smart speaker to play KGAY.
Hi, my name is Matt Scalarood, president of Pink Media, and a very proud and long-term supporter of PromoHomo.TV. And so at Pink Media, we've been working with companies large and small, including destinations such as this, to kind of help them target and reach the LGBT community online. And so we've been doing this for almost 30 years. And what's more important is that, it started out with banner ads and email campaigns, and now we've morphed into social media and video, and it's all about storytelling. So if you have a story and a message that you'd like to get out to a very targeted yet broad audience online, reaching the LGBT community, give us a call or reach us at www.pinkmedia.lgbt. Thanks.
The LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert is the only Coachella Valley organization dedicated to meeting the diverse needs of all LGBTQ+ individuals. From our Palm Springs McDonald Wright Building to the Center Coachella, the Scott Hines Behavioral Health Clinic, and the Community Food Bank, our mission comes to life by making meaningful connections to resources and to community that contribute to LGBTQ+ people's health and happiness. For more information, visit thecentercv.org.
It's not just about having fun. So depending on what your interests are, you can actually find things. There's something for everyone, I guess. And we really try and do that.
Well, just to run down very quickly. So October 30th is the welcome party at Hunter's. And Friday is the registration begins, but it goes on for several days at the Hotel Zoso on October 31st. That's when the Speakers Series commences, and then there's the first of two plunge pool parties that happen at CCBC. It's the world famous pool party that takes over the largest full service clothing optional gay men's resort in the country. Important to note, clear bags are only allowed at the resort, which means if you can't take in a backpack, you have to carry in a see-through bag, and that's frankly just to protect everybody who goes. And just across this steel fence here, we had lots of activities during Yoga Pride, including the Dark Alley Marketplace. It's very popular. Will you have live entertainment at that this year?
Not decided yet, but it's worth mentioning, that bucket I talked about, community. At Dark Alley on the Friday night, we usually have 2,200 people who drop by. And so there's lots of opportunity to meet new friends. The vendor mart is very, very popular, so there's lots of variety there. But there's a good example of a community event because we're really kind of bringing a lot of people together to interact.
I love it. Now, Saturday, November 1st, you might be surprised that at Palm Springs Leather Pride, they are having poolside yoga. I love that. What would you like to say about that?
Oh,
And
I think
hold
this is
your mic
something that
up.
we started last year. I think this is one of David's brainchilds, where two local yoga instructors come in poolside at Hotel Zozo, and you wouldn't imagine that leather men and women would be into yoga, but it's very popular and it's a great way to start the day. It's low key, just kind of easing into the day with these wonderful people. A little soft music, a little poolside yoga, perfect.
And then also on November 1st, there's Plunge 2, the Plunge Pool Party Part 2 at CCBC. Then back at the host hotel, Hotel Zoso, from 2 to 5 p.m. is the Cigar Social on the terrace overlooking the pool. What's so lovely about that time of year is it will be cool on the terrace, unlike now, as you mentioned, it's 100 degrees. And then, of course, the big event that night is the Mr. Palm Springs Leather Contest 2026, 6 to 8:30. It sells out every year.
Yeah. We actually, to be very honest, got caught a little flat-footed last year because we had set the room for pre-ticket sales and it doubled when at the door. And so we were having it was the mad chair race last year because we had to get twice as many chairs into the space. So it's an extremely popular event. We already have, I'm going to say, 6 or 7 contestants for Mr. Palm Springs Leather, each one of them strong in their own regard. So it's a really great event to come out to. And I say that one falls into the community bucket.
Right. And I would just like to add that, Mr. Palm Springs Leather 2025, Renee Hebert, went on to become International Mr. Leather.
I was going to actually.
You were going to say I stole your thunder.
Well, no, good. Yeah. Talk about what it means for a community when someone actually starts at a bar level and advances to that world contest and wins. I mean, each of you talk about what it means to you and our community.
Well, then I'll go first. So Renee started off as Mr. Off-Ramp Leather, then became Mr. Palm Springs Leather, and went on to become International Mr. Leather. This was huge. I think my favorite memory of that weekend was David, who was at IML, texting me nonstop. He's in the final 20, he's in the final 15. It was just so exciting to think that a homegrown candidate would become Mr. International Leather. I think one of my favorite memories, if I may, was meeting him at the airport. And there are pictures of this on our Facebook page, the PSLOD Facebook page, and on our website. We had many of our brothers and sisters from PSLOD meet him at the airport, a huge crowd cheering and yelling and hooting, and seeing the look on his face when that hometown boy came home to be enveloped by his brothers and sisters.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
He also represents Palm Springs. Right? And so he's already doing an amazing job, but it's great profile for us. As it just raises the Palm Springs flag all around the world, and I think that's a great thing.
You might want to add too that he received the prestigious Spirit of Palm Springs Award from Mayor Rhonda Hart about a month ago.
Yes.
David.
Yes, and that
Renee did.
Renee did. Yeah. And that was exciting. So it's about recognition. It's about service. The leather community is very much about service, and Renee is very much about service, and that's what was being recognized at the highest municipal level that we have here. So he's a great ambassador for us, for the leather community, and for Palm Springs.
Well, and within the leather community, it's like royalty. Seriously, I mean, if you're in the community, there's a deep level of reverence and respect and understanding, rightfully so, that is sent in the direction of the winner, and it's especially beautiful. And it's almost always, well, it is always the case that one of the aspects of that title is about their community service and their contributions to humanity. So the only thing we didn't mention is that there's after Mr. Palm Springs Leather is Dark Alley Marketplace Part 2 here on the alley, the parking lot adjacent to the tool shed. And then here that Sunday, November 2nd from 1 to 8 p.m. is the official closing party. And people are still showing up, and they're going to have to say goodbye for another year or to the next big leather event. And it's a joyful yet sorrowful event, because when you're together with that kind of community, you don't want to say goodbye.
But it's still very upbeat. We get a big draw. You come on Sunday, and once again, yes, sometimes it's about saying goodbye, but it's also looking forward to the next time. So I don't find it sad.
Well, no, but there's like this. We have to say goodbye now.
I think it's kind of exciting because it's see you next time.
I love it.
Yeah.
Is there anything either one of you want to say about PSLOD, the leather community, or this year's festivities that we have not yet talked about?
So one of my favorite topics is, and it has to do with both PSLOD and Leather Pride, is the concept of inclusion, right? So people hear Leather Pride and sometimes think about Palm Springs Leather Order of the Desert, and they think, oh, I have to be, for lack of a better word, Zeus is doing something back there. I have to be a professional leatherman to participate in this. We get a lot of questions about our dinner on the Friday night. Well, I don't have formal leathers. Am I welcome? And actually, I really like to put out the message to folks that everyone's welcome. Whether, you don't have to be decked out in head to toe leather to participate in any of the events. And maybe you're just interested, and this is the start of your journey. You're very welcome too. So I always like to clarify to folks that this is a very, very inclusive both club and event. This isn't about, a small niche of people who are already participating in something. This is about everyone coming, taking a look at the community, maybe joining the community, maybe being part of the community, but certainly consider yourself welcome.
Beautifully stated. What would you like to add?
With David's forbearance, I'd like to add, or to reiterate what you touched on, which is PSLOD is a 501. It is an entirely volunteer, philanthropic organization, and our proceeds from Leather Pride are plowed back into the community. And in this year, for example, PS Test, the Transgender Health Center, Palm Springs Pride itself, because a lot of organizations are facing dire financial restrictions and budget cuts by virtue of the political climate that we're in. All the more important, I would argue, that our philanthropic efforts are given back in the community, both locally, regionally, and in one or two instances nationally. The Tyler Clementi Foundation, for example, which is an anti-bullying campaign nationwide. And so we support many of those organizations with the money that is raised through this wonderful event that you've been talking about.
Well, and PSLOD.org is the website, and they have monthly meetings here at the LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert, ongoing social opportunities, always a way to get connected and engaged. And frankly, wherever you are in the world, there's probably a leather and kink community near you, so look for it. I just want to say that when I was coming out 40 years ago while being a student at Arizona State University, one of the first things I learned in my research was there's something called a Levi and leather bar. And I literally thought that meant I needed to wear something leather and Levi's. I bought this really fashionable pair of brown, leather boots that were nothing like what you would see at a leather community, and a pair of new jeans. You don't want to wear brand new jeans. You want them to be old and probably torn in all the strategic places. So that was my first impression of a Levi and leather bar. And then I went, I don't know, within the next year or two, to a Pride event, and I had a couple of friends with me that were into leather, and they insisted that I buy a leather vest. So I bought this black leather vest, and it really was fascinating, the complete shift in the responses I was getting to other men by simply having put on a leather vest. With that said, and something I know from previous interviews, is that you don't necessarily have to be into leather to be part of the leather community. It's not about the wardrobe, it's about so much more. The wardrobe is just part of it, but it's not a requirement. So I'm going to give it to each of you for a last word, and then we'll invite them to go to the website again. So what would you like to say to conclude?
Well, and again, hearkening on David's comments about inclusiveness, Palm Springs Leather Order of the Desert is a wonderful opportunity for people of all walks of life to come together and find community. And so you mentioned our monthly meetings, which is the first Thursday of the month, 6:30 at the LGBTQ Center. Come check us out. See if it's a fit. You might be surprised. You might find some friends.
And last word from you.
Once again, we're one of the largest celebrations in the world. Everyone's welcome. And I do want to reemphasize what Mike just said, is when you participate in one of our events, you are actually donating and participating in supporting local and national organizations who do good work. And so it is about celebration. It is about interaction. It's about community, but it's also about giving back and service. And so that's the second part of Leather Pride that's really important to keep in mind, because right now there are a lot of organizations that really do need support, and we'd like to be there for them.
Well, thank you both for putting on, in your case, leather, and in your case, black, to sit here on a very hot patio at which it is at least 93 degrees, according to my watch. But thanks again, guys. And we'll see you at Palm Springs Leather Pride 2025, where we're going to have Gods of Leather. How about that?
See you at Leather Pride.
See you there.
In a safe place, I got room to breathe. Been a long chase, but at last I'm free. These open woods, I knew I could find peace here. Nothing like the city where I got tired of the running, the catching up. I got hungry for the stunning high mountain tops. So I made some plans, some dreams to catch, to promised lands, to find my path, see the planet from greater heights. I have found a place out of time and space, far from city lights, up on greater heights. See the blue sky, feel the wind that blows, get the rush in, heaven only knows. I'm all alone, still lying far from lonely, on a journey, on a winding road. Got tired of the running, the catching up. I got hungry for the stunning high mountain top.